Hello, everybody, and welcome to what we can call a deluxe version of the It's and Queens podcast. Supersized. We are actually in Casa del Chef, which is a restaurant on 64th Street between Roosevelt Avenue and 39th Avenue in Woodside.
That's it.
It is a very good restaurant, absolutely top-notch. And we'll be learning a little bit more about it in a second. First, we're just going to introduce ourselves.
That's a good idea.
I'm
Good
Rob
place to
Zhicay
start.
from the Queens Tourism Council, making you
That would make me Chris Donovan from the Daily News.
from the Daily News, which co-sponsors this It's in Queens podcast, which covers events in the borough after Thanksgiving week.
Post-Thanksgiving.
So we're really November 29th to December 5th. And there's a lot going on in the borough, an awful lot going on in the
Everyone
borough.
woke up from their tryptophan nap and they're ready to rock.
Yes. We also happen to have two food legends with us tonight. To your immediate left
Oh, right here, look at that.
would be Laura Altimari, who is, in this case, she's working for Edible Queens, which is a periodical
issue.
magazine that covers the food scene in the borough. She's also wore many other hats, pretty much all related to food, correct, Laura?
Pretty much, yeah.
And how are you this afternoon or
I'm
this night?
wonderful.
You're wonderful?
Excellent.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, to Laura's left is Laura promotes the food. We have somebody who makes the food. To our left is Alfonso Zhicay, the owner and head chef of this restaurant. Alfonso, how are you?
Very nice. Thank you so much, and welcome all of you guys.
Thank
Here.
you.
It's exciting.
I have been here before, and I've always had a very good meal here, so it's nice to be here
I
now.
have as well.
This is
Yes.
much nicer than the bunker we taped
Yes.
in Woodside.
Oh, well, I
usually.
wouldn't. Why don't we start with you two, since you're here. Tell us a little bit about, we just had turkey last week, and later on in the podcast, we'll learn that we've got a lot of cheese coming up in the borough. But what are you guys here, and what's the food angle from you guys, Laura?
So Edible Queens has been hosting a series of events, the Green Market Bites, at different green markets in partnership with Grow New York City. And they have their markets throughout the borough and all year long. So if you check their website, you can see when their markets are
This would
here
be
throughout the
Long
winter.
Island City, Ridgewood, Jackson Heights,
Sunnyside,
Forest Hills, Saturday morning markets. They're all Saturday morning, right?
They're mostly Saturday
almost all
mornings. This
Saturday
one
morning.
is that Chef Alfonso is going to be in is on Sunday.
It's on
Ah,
Sunday.
there you go.
Okay.
From 11 to 1. That's the Jackson Heights Green Market.
And what street is that located at?
That is on
78th Street
78th
and
Street.
34th Avenue.
78th and 34th?
78th and 34th.
Okay, very
So
good.
this Sunday,
This
which
Sunday.
is December 2nd, if I'm not mistaken,
Correct.
on the Jackson Heights Green Market,
Yep.
Mr. Alfonso Zhicay will be talking about what?
Well, we're going to be serving delicious gnocchi in this coming Sunday. The
And-
gnocchi that basically the main ingredient I got this Sunday was delicious kabocha squash.
A squash.
Yeah,
Squash gnocchi.
squash at this moment, those days.
This
right.
is the
Yeah.
big day.
Yes.
These are the salad days for squash.
Yeah,
right?
so I got so
Absolutely.
excited that I see a pile of squashes and especially this kabocha, so I decided to pick this and come up with gnocchis. And also I'm doing it in a menu in the restaurant as well, serving in a menu. These
okay.
gnocchis, and it's been so successful. People
Right.
loved it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so why not with
If they're in
Queens
season and
Edible,
fresh,
they serve
right?
So-
on Sunday.
So obviously, if people go to the Jackson Heights Green Market on Sunday, they'll be able to get samples of this,
Absolutely,
and
yes,
you'll be
yeah.
making it. What kind of a
Yes.
sauce will you use for this?
We're gonna, when it comes to sauces, it's very tricky with, you could do whatever you want,
For
but
a new- uh-huh.
as being, I like to go around at the markets.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes I will go to Sunnyside Farmers Market here on Saturdays, and I found this beautiful buffalo cheese from Rivine Ranch Farmers,
Uh-huh.
which is in the county of New Jersey.
Okay.
And personally, I never had it.
Sounds
buffalo
amazing. Yeah.
milk or cheese. I never had
Okay.
it, seriously.
Uh-huh.
It always comes interesting. I heard about
Very
it.
creamy.
And so I had a taste at the market, and it was like so delightful and light and and the flavor. It's like, wow, this must be good to make a sauce out of this. And I come up with this same concept doing as the French all classic Vore Blanc saucy or buttery. So I'm substituting for butter this cheese. So basically, it's going to be like a nice and cheesy buffalo.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
for the
Wow.
sauce.
So you're inspired
but
by what
the gnocchi has the squash inside of it, and the sauce is a cheesy, creamy sauce.
Other side, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can get this at the market. You can also get it here for this week.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Very good.
Any day except Monday.
Any day except Monday, right. Now, something tells me that this gnocchi that you make goes very well with this wine.
Yeah.
Is that
this-
true?
Yes. Well, I've been working with this winery, Anthony Rowe, with Mr. Joe Martini, who's a winery from Finger Lakes.
Finger Lakes, New
Lakes,
York. So this
New
is a New
York.
York wine.
Correct. And he's
We'll allow
also
it.
at the
We'll
Jackson
allow it.
Heights Market
Oh,
every
they sell
other
it
Sunday.
at the Jackson Heights
Oh,
Market?
nice.
Ah, look at that. It all
Yes,
comes
and I
together.
have his wine in our wine list, and he since we opened,
Ah.
and we have a kind of like good relationship and talk. And he was here a couple weeks ago.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we were talking, and I had a different type of gnocchi, but he come up like, chef, we should do this at the market
Uh-huh.
because we've been doing pairings, tastings every year,
Uh-huh.
and actually he gave me a suggestion. This is the wine that you need to try, and I did, and I think you guys are gonna taste it tonight. And
Oh, are
probably
we gonna
make
taste it tonight?
Yeah,
Oh,
and make
look
it
at
and make
that.
it a judgment.
Surprise.
Make some
Super
judgment
pie
for
never
you.
Rainy Monday.
The only thing we get at the bunker
Yeah.
is Burger King
Yeah.
chicken
Chick-
finger.
we had chicken
Super
fries
pie
the
does
last time.
not feed us
All
well
right.
at all.
Well, that's fantastic. So Alfonso, he's had this restaurant for how many years now?
This is our 4th year, actually going
Fourth
to the
year.
5th now.
Uh-huh.
Oh, congratulations.
He has a really good personal story, and we'll get to it at the end. But basically, he grew up on an organic farm in Ecuador.
No kidding.
And I remember he was at Queen's Taste last year. I'm the guy who organizes Queen's Taste, and he had some kind of a potato foam.
Potato foam,
Was
yes.
it bacon or what was the?
It was yes, it was
It was-
infused with
it was infused with-
bacon
Yeah.
in it. Yeah.
And he had, it was the hit of the, it was really the, every
It
single
was.
Queen's
It
Taste, there's
was.
always like 1 or 2 restaurants that have something that people go crazy over, and that was the
And
hit.
go back for.
Yeah.
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 All right. Anyway, thank you very much. So if you are certainly welcome to come back in a couple minutes with some gnocchi to try. Let's just say it that way. Okay.
Let me get burned in my kitchen.
All right, he'll be
Okay.
back with us in a second.
All right.
Now,
Now
before we get into the events, a
Yes.
little something you should know. I am also infused with bacon.
you're infused with bacon. All right.
Yeah, did you
Very
know that?
good. All right.
No,
Very
it's a little
good.
known
You know
fact.
something I want to know, since he's saying that there's squash in the that there's squash. I understand that all of your pumpkin products that they say they're pumpkin, they're really squash. Because
know what? I
really,
knew those
pumpkin is
pumpkin-
almost
It's in the
impossible to
squash.
cook with.
It's in the squash family.
So,
Actually,
so like when you get like a pumpkin muffin or a pumpkin pie, you're actually getting butternut squash.
you
I knew
know,
those pumpkin liars.
we did
Yes.
a demo
So-
last month in Ridgewood with Green Market Bites
Uh-huh.
with Chef Bikash Karel, and he actually did a pumpkin dish, and it
And
took
the
a little
pumpkin
while to
was-
cook it down.
Yeah,
he
pumpkin's not
chopped
easy
it
to
up,
cook with.
and he had to cook it down. It took about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
for
So
it to
just think
cook
about
down.
that. Just think about
What
that.
a flavor.
Yeah.
It
So,
has. Yeah.
anyway, let's talk about some of the stuff coming on this week.
Yeah, let's get into it.
The first thing I was hoping to talk about was the Great Northeast Cheese Fest, which is on December 1st. December 1st is a
Nice.
Saturday, 6 to 9 at Flushing
And this
Town
must be,
Hall.
I was going to say, this must be at a food location.
This is Flushing
not.
Town
It's at
Hall.
Flushing Town Hall.
Joe DiStefano does an annual
Epicurean,
Epicurean,
events, yeah.
He does an annual like sausage meat fest, and
Yep.
then he does a cheese fest.
Right.
And you have the inside information on this, right?
Yeah, we're the media sponsor for it, so
Okay.
Edible Queens will definitely be there. We'll be handing out our latest magazine.
Uh-huh.
Is that this one right
that
here?
would be that one.
Which is it's Obsessions? No, that was the other one. This is the travel
travel.
issue.
No, this one's
okay,
the
had it,
travel
yeah.
issue.
The
Okay.
only travel in Queens.
You just living in Queens is like traveling.
That's right.
So it's my understand that all of these creameries,
Yeah.
which is what you call a cheese making,
Yep.
like, will be there, and you can try the different cheeses and buy it right there on spot.
Yep.
So inside Flushing Town Hall, there will be a lot of booths,
Be a walk around tasting.
and you walk
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Now, what's a
And-
cheesemonger? A guy who sells the
Cheesemonger is
cheese?
the guy who sells
All right,
cheese, like
all
not
right.
to be confused with a fishmonger.
Yes, all
who
right,
sells
fair
fish.
enough. All right.
And he's also bringing in locally, like New York State wines, beer, and ciders and other things
Yep.
like that.
Everything
right?
from New York.
Yeah.
And our chef, he will be there as
And
well.
Yep.
Chef Zhicay will be
Zhicay
there.
will be
Oh,
there.
and what's he going to
Yep.
be doing there?
He might do the same
I
dish he's
think he
given
may be
us.
doing the gnocchi. He may change it up a little
okay.
bit, but we'll see.
Okay, with the buffalo
Saturday.
cheese.
Yeah, the
Yep.
cheese is the important
okay.
part on for
And
that. Yep.
Very
Yves
good.
Defour will be there also from
Huey
Wells.
Defour, the
From
guy
M. Wells, sure.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Got a lot of good chefs in this borough.
We have a
Yeah,
lot of
we
good.
do.
This is a good borough for food. So again, that's the Great Northeast Cheese Fest, December 1st, 6 to 9. You got 3 hours to walk around and get all the cheese you can. I'm sure that they will accept credit cards.
Not for the faint of heart or the lactose intolerant.
Yes. Well, they might have some lactose-free.
They should, I'm
yeah,
sure.
You never know.
Sure.
You never know.
And they probably even have vegan cheese, right? That's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how you make it.
I don't
You can
know
have-
about that.
No.
All
All right,
You
well-
don't know about that?
All right, well,
Okay.
check their website for this.
So,
Perhaps.
Alfonso is from Ecuador, but let's jump over to Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Have you guys heard of the Calpulli Mexican Dance Company?
Yeah, well, we've talked about them on the podcast before, for sure.
All right. Well, they're based. I think that they're technically based in East Elmhurst or Astoria.
Okay.
They have come up with a new. It's called Navidad, a Mexican American Christmas. It's
Sure.
a dance.
Okay.
Choreographed. They're very good. You know, they come out and they dance with the sombreros and everything, the charro outfits and everything. They've come up with a new. It's a story which they tell via dance.
Nice.
About a kid growing up in New York who has Mexican immigrant parents, and he falls asleep and has a dream. And in the dream fuses, Mexican mariachi music with Tchaikovsky and folk music with, ballet and that kind of
Nice.
stuff.
They're taking
Yeah.
all their influences and
Yeah,
blending
so
them together.
It's a nice sort of combination. Now, they are going to be performing this at Thalia Spanish Theater, which is
Nice venue in Sunnyside, yep.
That's going to be November 30th to December 16th.
Oh, you got a couple chances to catch that.
With
then.
shows on Fridays and Saturdays at night and Sundays in the
Afternoon,
afternoon.
matinee.
However, they're also going to be doing a special presentation at the Queens Botanical Garden,
Okay.
which is kind of interesting. In this case, they will be doing a few scenes, but they will also be explaining the story, and then they will host a workshop, probably for children and adults, about the movement and what goes into creating the whole play.
All right.
So that's kind of fun.
A little behind the scenes action.
It's a little
there.
bit fun,
Yeah.
and it's one company at two different spaces in the green. Covers 3 boroughs, and that the Queens Botanical Garden thing is also on December 1st, which is a Saturday.
Saturday.
The other thing I wanted to mention on December 1st is your favorite day of the
WinterCon.
year. That's right.
I jumped the gun on this one last week.
Yeah. He was so excited. He had to
I had to
start
get it
talking
out.
about it
I had to
last
get it
week.
out. Well, I got my Star Trek costume in out of storage, so I'm very excited.
Do
for it.
you? All right. WinterCom is on both weekend days, December
Saturday
1st and
and Sunday,
2nd,
yep.
at the Resorts World Casino. It
Uh-huh.
is the tri-state area's biggest sci-fi convention.
Yep.
Okay? And this means all kinds of celebrity guests, which are mostly actors that play
There were
superheroes
characters,
and other kinds of things.
Yep.
Cosplay, which of course is
Costume.
costume play. You
Yep.
get dressed up in your costumes and fight each other with all the other superheroes and other things and villains and Star Trek figures and everything like that.
Yep.
Panel discussions, children events, artist alley.
Artist
all that
alley.
kind of
Artist alleys are
stuff.
cool because they'll come and they'll sign their work and that's
Yeah, the artist will actually say, all the art that's related to comics and other
comics,
things,
yeah.
sci-fi. So that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. What's your favorite comic book figure? We haven't.
Oh, gosh.
It's got to be
Put me on the
Wonder Woman,
spot
right?
here. I was just thinking Wonder Woman. That's the
There
only
you
one I know.
So, Chris has a 7-year-old
Yep.
son,
Uh-huh.
and he is completely infatuated with that. And he actually,
Yeah.
when he meets adults for the first time, he often asks, "Which superpower would you like to have?"
right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, if
And he
you
dressed
come
up
to-
as in cosplay for the New York City Comic Con.
Oh,
Yeah.
did he? Okay.
Yeah.
What was he for Halloween?
Finn from Adventure Time, which is a cartoon on
Which is a
Cartoon
car-
Network.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is your chance to go to the Resorts World, and you can meet people with the whole array of.
And this is one of the only
superhero
times that they
powers.
allow kids in that part of the
Ah,
casino
yes,
because there are
one of
kids.
those, yeah.
No one under 21 is allowed in there normally.
Very good. All right, very good. What was your, if you could have one superpower, what was the one? I forgot what you said.
I think it was the mind reading.
Mind reading?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good superpower.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
I can't remember what I was.
You were flying. You were.
I want to be able to fly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Very good. We also have a whole bunch of holiday markets coming up, and sort of Christmas and the other holiday celebrations related stuff. For example, Queens Farm Museum is selling holiday trees, wreaths, and poinsettias, which is nice. They have their own wool that they make that they get from the sheep
From
that
the
live
sheep,
there.
yeah.
So they have products, sweaters and stuff. That are
I've
made
also
that.
produced a sweater from just belly button lint.
No,
Did you know that?
I don't believe that for
No,
a
it's not true.
second, and I wouldn't buy it either.
I wouldn't sell it to you. It's very special to me.
You
My
can-
belly button sweater.
You can learn how to make wreaths in a special workshop at Queens Botanical Garden.
That's
on
a cool
December
one.
1st. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There is, but you know what I think is even cooler?
What?
Do you know what I don't know if I pronounced this right, but a pomander? A pomander? Do you know what that is?
No, I mean, I'm the dumbest man in America. I mean, how
All
could I?
right. Well, in the 18th century, in the United States, especially in New York, they made pomanders, which are the oranges, and you put spices like cloves and stuff in them,
Uh-huh.
and you decorate them all around, and then
Right.
you leave them in the house,
And they smell
they're both
nice.
decorative and they smell nice. And remember,
Ah.
in the 18th century, you could only get oranges in the winter. It wasn't like this was before all of this agribusiness.
This is before we had Florida annexed, I guess. Right?
So
I was gonna and when you think about the word palm, I'm like going, oh, pomade.
right?
maybe
No,
it's
it's a
hair thing?
pomander. Pomander.
But I was off.
A
on that.
spiced,
Shocking.
scented ornament that
Right.
decorated homes and filled houses with lovely aromas.
Nice.
This is at Queens Manor Museum. They've
King
done this
Manor,
before.
King Manor.
Manor Museum,
Yep.
which is located in Jamaica. There
Right.
was a family called the King family,
Mm-hmm.
and so this was probably something that they used to do every
I'm
year.
sure. Yeah.
And you can, of course, bring everything home.
Nice.
And once you have that knowledge, thanks to greenhouses and floodlights and other kinds of things, you can make a pomander any time of year.
I
Yeah.
want to make one now. That you mentioned it.
Okay. There's also a holiday concert, which is holiday music and a group called the Dickensian Carolers
I bet
at the
they're-
Maple Grove Cemetery.
Charles Dickens.
Dickensian Carolers.
that.
they're
I got
gonna
that
have-
one.
I don't know if they're going to be singing Bah Humbug, if they're going to dress up like people
Mm-hmm.
but they will be singing at the Maple Grove Cemetery, which has one of the most active cemeteries.
I tell you, they have events
events
every-
going there
It
all
is.
the time.
They do
Yes.
not
Yep.
stop.
There's related. Do you know about the Queensborough Symphony Orchestra? Now,
That's
there's a
different than the Queen's
There's
Symphony
a
Orchestra?
Queens Symphony Orchestra and there's a Queensborough Symphony Orchestra.
I hope they're not at war
I
with
think
each
it's
other.
largely Asian, and I think it's based in Flushing
Okay.
or Bayside. But they will be giving a concert at Mary's Nativity Church in Flushing on December 2nd.
I hope it's not like a Biggie Tupac situation.
Mozart, hopefully not.
Yeah.
East Coast, West Coast.
Right, yeah. Have a violin bow like shot at your head.
Mozart's Toy Symphony and Symphony Number 45. So Mozart's Toy Symphony, that's got to be Christmas related, right?
Yep.
And Mozart's Violin Concerto in D major.
Ooh, they went
Farewell
with D
by
major,
Haydn.
huh?
D major. What do you think?
Yeah, I
about
would
that?
have went with B minor, but all right.
D minor. Yeah, okay. I also wanted to say the marimba. What's the marimba?
You got me on that one.
Ooh,
A
it's
dance,
Laura,
perhaps?
Laura has a look that I don't think she knows what the marimba is.
Is that an instrument? That's
The
an instrument,
marimba
isn't it?
is a percussion instrument.
There we go.
Not, I don't know. It's a percussion instrument, not really like a drum, more like a glockenspiel
Oh.
or a xylophone. But you know,
All right.
so we actually have one, and it's originally from Africa,
Okay.
and it's very common in a lot of Caribbean music.
Okay.
And we actually have one of the world's best marimba players
No kidding.
in town this weekend.
All right.
And he is from Japan, believe it or not, Makoto Nakura. And he is going to be playing marimba at the Church in the Gardens in Forest Hills.
That's another beautiful
Which is
venue.
a
that we
beautiful
talk about
venue,
a
great
lot.
place
Yep.
to hear music. Yep, and he's going to be accompanied by a flute and a narrator who's actually going to be reading Japanese poetry.
Look at that.
So you got an African instrument
Being played
being
by...
played with Japanese poetry and a flute. Go
Amen.
figure.
It's Queens as you can get.
And before that show is on at 7 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, there's actually a marimba. It's called Marimba Magic, which is a program for children to introduce children about
that's
the
very
marimba.
cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Flushing Town Hall does that a lot. They'll do like a show
Yeah,
for
they
the
do a
kids
show
and then
for
they'll
the kids,
do
yeah.
a show for the adults. I like that idea.
Then, of course, we have a few other things. One is a poetry night at Lewis Latimer House.
Inspired by the man
Inspired
himself.
by Lewis Latimer, who was a poet.
Right.
We have Angela Himsel, who grew up in a small rural evangelical community, all right, in Indiana,
Okay.
converted to Judaism and moved to New York City, and now lives as a religious Jew in New York City.
Wow.
She's written
That's
a book
some
on
journey.
She's written a book on her experiences, and she will be discussing and selling, and if you're nice, signing the book at the Queens Central Y in Forest Hills. That's December 3rd, which is
That's Monday, okay.
A little bit harder to get to.
That's all right.
Speaking of books,
Give it to me.
an Astoria resident named Marie Carter
Mm-hmm.
will be doing the same, discussing, selling, and signing
Yep.
her book, which is called Holly's Hurricane. And Holly's Hurricane takes place in the year 2040 after a hurricane called Hurricane Diana wreaks havoc on New York City. Now, Holly Williams, who's an architect who actually fled England, maybe in the year 2040, England is not a nice place to live.
Yeah.
She has hallucinations during which a mysterious stranger guides her through some of New York City's forgotten and dramatic history.
Oh, look at that.
That kind of sounds the book sounds kind of interesting.
So this is
She'll talk
this is
about it and
fiction or
sign it.
nonfiction?
It's fiction, so but I'm sure it's related to some of the stories about New York City's past.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that they're gonna weave that in for
Yep.
sure.
And then the other thing I wanted to say is there are three of us,
That's right.
so we have no excuse. All three of us, of course, are ballers, right?
I kill it at the game.
Yep. There is a 3-on-3 basketball tournament at the
Oh,
Variety Boys and Girls
absolutely.
Club in Astoria.
Point guard, small forward, power forward.
Right. I eat rebounds. It's pretty big time. Do you know who Tony Richardson is? And I'm
Yeah.
not offended if you didn't.
Former Jet, right?
Yeah, you know it? Number
He
49.
actually, the Daily News does used to do a Jet event every year, and they'd bring former Jets to
Oh.
play flag football on the field at MetLife.
Oh.
And Tony was there
He's
like
a-
2 years in a row. Very nice guy.
He's big into community stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
good for him.
So it's my understanding that he was a fullback, and
Yes.
but he was for many years, and he made it into the Hall of Fame.
Yes,
Well, that's as good as they get.
that's as good as they get.
So he actually has a team. He'll be playing basketball.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he lives in Long Island City.
Yeah, and
And
he
he's
still
very
likes he could.
involved.
He still likes he could play
He
today.
looks. He's
Yeah.
about as in
Yeah.
shape as anyone.
Yeah.
So he'll have a team.
As much as I'm out of shape, that's how much in shape he is.
Right. The Mets are going to have a team.
Okay.
Soccer Stars are going to have a team. New York Life, a whole bunch of teams. People already have teams. But if you want to play, you can still get in and
Yeah.
get your team in. And it's a couple of hours long. It's at the Variety Boys and Girls Club, which has I don't know if you know it. It's on 21st Street in Astoria.
Yeah.
Well, Long Island City, Astoria.
We've done the Golden Gloves there for the
Yeah.
Daily News. So
And-
yeah.
But they have a basketball court, and that's where Ron Artest grew up.
Oh, yes,
Basketball.
yes.
So it has produced an NBA legend.
Absolutely.
His father, Ron Artest Sr., still works at that club.
That's very
And
cool.
his brother does too, who's also like 6'6" or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is what's going on
And that's
this
for a
week.
charity, right? They're raising
And it's
money
for
the
charity.
event. Yeah.
That raises money for charity. Is there anything else we should know about Ms. Laura Altimari and Edible Queens?
From
Tell me what you get in
Edible
this
Queens.
edition.
Oh, well, if you go onto the website, there is actually an interactive map that tells you where this magazine is available all throughout Queens.
Oh, okay, and it's free.
And it's free
And
for
it's free.
everybody.
If it's free, it's for me.
And this issue includes a lot of different articles. The articles are very well written, I should say, and
Always
the
good
photographs are very
photos,
good.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What some of the main articles are?
We got
You're
Chef
gonna-
Jonathan Forgash.
Jonathan,
I know
yeah.
him. Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. He's the guy. He's one of the organizers of the Cheese Fest.
Of the Cheese Fest,
Yeah.
yes,
So there's an article on him or by him.
on him.
On him,
Okay.
yeah.
And there's
And then we got Politics and Papusas.
that's La Casa de las Pupusas. Pupusas are fantastic. El Salvadoran and Honduran, kind of like a dumpling.
Yeah.
I used to live in Honduras. I eat a lot of pupusas. You can get them cheese, potato, meat, chicken, however.
Look at you.
All right.
Your
Well,
Papusa knowledge is unmatched in this world.
so right now we're gonna look at some of this gnocchi, which is fresh coming out of the oven.
I'm ready.
I
You
can't
ready?
wait.
You ready? Okay.
Totally
Let's
excited.
get a look at this. What do we call it? The kabocha.
Kabocha gnocchi.
How do you spell kabocha?
Thank you.
Wow, look at this.
Oh, look at that.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
give our,
Can we,
viewers a view
can
of
we,
that.
yeah,
Look at
can we
that.
just take a look? Here it
I want
is.
to make sure, you guys, that when you
And
taste
the
it, you gotta go with the
smell.
wine.
Oh,
Okay,
please.
those are the-
Yeah.
Okay,
Otherwise,
okay.
you want
It's, we want the full, I want the full experience, absolutely.
Can I be an annoying food and take a picture of it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can take a
please.
picture of it, but, can you tell us a little bit about what's going
He
on?
needs a mic, so he's gonna have to sit down.
Oh, yeah, I don't, well, can we, while we eat the food, can we ask, Laura to tell us a little bit about, what's going on in Edible Queensland? Because it's my understanding that, that you've got a few events coming up, right?
We are in the midst of planning.
And we're gonna start eating.
We are in the midst
You
of
talk,
of
I eat. That's a
planning
great- yeah.
events for 2019. So what we actually did was we reached out to our audience and we asked them, what is it that you want to see this coming year for events? So we got quite a bit of feedback from, we'd like to see multicultural demonstrations, we'd like to see a potluck, we'd like to see, you know, the neighborhood chefs involved. So right now, we're putting that all together and we're looking at venues. And as we plan them and we have the venues, and it'll go all up on the website and out on our social media.
Nice.
So this program with the Green Market Bites, that was our pilot program that we tested through October, November, and December to bring chefs from Queens to the local market and to cook from the bounty of the market. And so far, it's been very successful. The recipes are going up on the website, so people can actually give a whirl and cook it at home if they'd like. And they get to meet the chef, and the chef gets to meet people.
Yeah.
Maybe they're right in their own neighborhood, and people don't even know that they exist. That's happened so many times over the past 2 events that we did. Like, oh, really? You're right over here? We never even knew. So just a good thing all around for
Now,
chefs
Chef,
to have that.
you get inspired by the ingredients you find at the local markets? Is that a part of your cooking year-round?
That's kind of this thing.
That's exactly what happens. Yeah, you know, the food, it goes by eyes, I guess.
Right.
When you see something that's displayed on the markets, it's like it comes so much ideas or imaginations cooking with it,
Nice.
and it opens up more your mind and be more creative.
So you
on
can be
food.
inspired by just what you see at the market. and
Absolutely, yeah.
it goes to the menu. Which is,
So this gnocchi is absolutely delicious.
wait, Rob, did you enjoy it?
Also,
Is there a dumpling around it? Or
No.
is it's just pure squash?
It's pure squash. Yeah,
Ah, wow.
yeah.
It's
It
amazing.
is combined with a
Really
little bit,
delicious.
of course, of egg and a flour to
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
And it's it's straight and cooked. Basically, it's 95% squashed.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's so
Fantastic.
light and
It is
airy.
really,
Wine
really
goes
good.
perfect with
It is
it, by the
absolutely
way.
fantastic.
That's it?
So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this Anthony Road
Yeah,
Pinot
from
Grease.
Pinot Gris from Finger Lakes, which is also at the Jackson Heights Farmers Market.
Very
Look at
nice.
that.
Every
So you
other
can-
Sunday.
Now, Alfonso, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you grew up and everything.
Well, I'm Ecuadorian,
Yeah.
okay? And in Ecuador, I'm from a small little village. It's called Gualaceo, which is a town that I was raised and grew up with a small little farm where my mom used to work, which was a sugarcane farm.
Okay.
Since I was 8, 9, 10, 11, till I was 16, I grew up helping mom after I finished school, middle school, and going see her since my mom became a widow when I was very little.
Ah.
So it was kind of very interesting. Well, at that time, I guess it wasn't that interesting, but today it's really interesting that how much I learned and how much I value the food.
Oh, my God.
Because living in a sugarcane farm, it was like A to V, where you plant, where
Yeah.
the sugarcane, where
You watch
you
it
know,
come up.
yeah,
uh-huh.
and see that when it comes to harvest, and see that making juice and making
Sugar.
sugarcane and all that kind of
Makes
stuff. It was for me at that age. It was very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
For kids, it was like it's awesome.
Yeah.
For kids, also for kids' job, it was super cool because I had a very fun place that I was being in charge.
Uh-huh.
So I grew up in that kind of farm situation that today is helping me. It's worth it. Everything is worth in life. And that's why, and also in Ecuador, where I come from, there is a market outside, like here in Jackson Heights. It's right out there, where the people, the small little farmers will come every 2 days, 3 times a week. Market over there. Moms, we go, we take the kids, let's go shop, and I would be with mom, shopping and grabbing. I learned everything from my mom actually, how to pick the best. I don't know. Squashes or how to pick the best. And by eye, it's like, oh my God, this looks so good, so delicious. So I guess it's from that roots that I.
And when did you come to New York?
Since 1994. I drive, yeah.
And before you had your restaurant, where did you work?
That's a kind of sad every time what I talk about, because I did grow up with Chef Dan Barber at Blue Hill Restaurant in the city.
Blue Hill Restaurant.
Blue Hill Restaurant, yeah. Basically, I had I was very lucky to meet him, and early years that I drive here, and I've been working since then. Almost about 14 years. Working next to.
Fantastic.
He's quite a chef.
So the all-important question is: do you like cuy, which is the word for guinea pig?
Guinea pig, yeah.
You do?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, that's the region where I come from. The region where the most, it's called Sierra in Ecuador. La Sierra in Ecuador, where most, like every family outside,
they have a cuy. They call the criadera a breeding ground. A cuy for guinea pigs.
I did a couple times a tasting menu, kind of like Ecuadorian twist in here in a restaurant, and it turned out so succeed. People love it.
Well, you know, they say the cuy in Ecuador, they eat nothing much but alfalfa. So the meat is really, really healthy. It has iron and riboflavin and all that kind of stuff. And people will tell you that it's the best meat there is.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes probably we might come up with a new menu again and have all of us
with cuy here. All right,
yeah,
we'll eat some cuy. Will you eat cuy?
I'll eat it.
Will you eat cuy? Oh, you ate. I ate rabbit. He had rabbit.
Yeah, we
once.
went to Joe D took us to a restaurant
Mexican
in
restaurant
Corona,
for
and I had rabbit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was
Yeah.
delicious.
Well, rabbit is a little popular, very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have
But
it
I see your
growing up.
eyes looking at cuy. I don't know.
I'm in. No, I'm in. I'm in.
All right, he's in.
Do I look like I missed a meal, chef? I'm in.
All right. Well, thank you very much,
This was
everyone.
incredible.
This was a lot of fun.
So remember, Casa del Chef, 64th Street, and
between Roosevelt and 39th Avenues in Woodside.
Right.
Food is fantastic.
Amazing. That was any indication, that was something else.
And please remember that everything that we talked about is at itsinqueens.com,
Laura?
ediblequeens.com,
Ediblequeens.com.
and casadelchef.com, or is there something else?
CasaDelChef.com, yeah.
Casadelchef.com. Everything you can get here.
GrowNewYork.com.
GrowNewYork.com for more information on the green markets. Thank you all, and until next week, I hope you come here.
Yeah, we'll be
and
back.
I hope
We'll
you
be back
enjoy
to-
all the wonderful things
We'll
in
be
the
back
borough.
to Adam's
We
stupid
doing
chicken
cheers
fingers.
now?
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers to Queen.
Salud to the.
Salud.
Thank you.
Salud.
Thank you. Thank you.